It was kind of a very brief conversation, and not necessarily everyone agreed or whatever it was, but basically I think the boss wasn't happy with something, and that was kind of it.
Make sure to watch until the very end of this interview for your chance to win this. Yeah, the big gold World Heavyweight Championship from Fandu Belts. I've been chasing you down to do this interview for months, and here we are.
I'm still laughing. Start. Okay.
That's how you do it, yeah. So thank you. We're in the same place at the same time.
I'm glad because I felt bad that it seemed like I dodged you a couple times, but I didn't, and now here we are.
Well, I saw you at, what was it? Oh, it was in Chicago. Well, I saw you.
Yes.
And you were like, hey, I forgot to email you back. I'm sorry. Like, well, no, it's fine.
The email gets crazy sometimes, and I don't always run it myself, so it's not even on purpose. Usually I see emails like a couple days later, I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We're making it happen now, and that's all that matters. How does it feel being back in the ring?
Awesome. Like, I've loved wrestling since I was a little kid, so I feel like this is where I'm always meant to be, so it just feels at home.
Yeah, but you had, there was a break there.
Yeah.
As you were recovering from your injury.
Felt like a lifetime.
Yeah. What was it, 10 months?
10 months, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably the longest break I've had since I started, I guess.
Probably, sure.
Yeah. Bar, I guess, the time when I got signed with WWE, I had to have my shoulder repaired back then. But yeah, for about 8 years, that's probably the longest gap I've had.
Wow. So as you sit here right now, are you feeling 100% with the shoulder and everything?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. It takes time. Like, I've only been back for a few months to kind of like get used to being in the ring again, kind of get the flow back. But yeah, I feel really good, and it just kind of everything starts flowing again, and there's like the excitement of what's next. So that's cool.
Because here's the thing: you get in the ring with the sling on and Ring of Honor, and people, they're never sure is this a work? Is this actually?
I'm like, no, it's real. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Yeah, and then did you have the surgery like not long after that?
Yeah, I had the surgery in October last year, the beginning of October. So I think I wore the sling maybe a little bit before that when I had injured it, and then I knew I was having surgery already. So,
but it's fine to take bumps on it and everything's good
yeah.
now? It's like a new shoulder.
Yeah, there's titanium in this bad boy.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of screws.
Oh my God.
Which I might have to get taken out because, there's screws in my shoulder. But otherwise, good, yeah.
Okay, well, good. And how are things going so far for you in Impact?
Great. I'm having a championship match tonight.
You are? Yeah.
I really can't get much better than that. Unless I win, then that would be better. That's the high point. So.
Yeah. Was this a secret that you had to keep for a while, where you were going?
I guess, yeah. Well, I was in talks for a while and kind of was keeping my options open and kind of just enjoying working for the independent scene, which I still am. So I managed to kind of do these shows and stay like a free agent, basically. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it really is. And now you guys are going to be on Access TV. So it's like now you get like a TV channel that's Tuesdays, 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And you're still working. Is it any indie bookings you want to work?
Yeah, I do what I want. I'm in charge.
It's all about you.
It is, really is.
No, that's
telling everyone that.
What was the reaction after you debuted on Impact?
It was awesome because I think people had been waiting to see like where I was going to go, what I was going to do, and even better when they announced the TV because everyone was like, "Oh, I want to watch." I used to watch you all the time. Where can I see you? This and that. So it's like that's just kind of the cherry on top.
So everything's really coming together for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we saw you at AEW for All Out. How were you able to do that?
Well, I'm not exclusive. That's what I was saying. I do what I want.
I did.
I do what I want.
Oh, you actually?
I literally, yeah. I agreed to work some dates with Impact, and I had already agreed to AEW before I agreed to stuff with Impact. So I was kind of like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm still going to do the independent shows wherever I want. So I've done lots of overseas tours, and I plan on doing a lot more of that. So I kind of can have fun and do what I want.
You know what this sounds like?
What?
The best deal ever.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Wow. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Will we maybe be seeing more of you in AEW?
I mean, never say never, right?
That's the wrestling world for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You just, honestly, you never, like, you could work with someone years and years ago and all of a sudden you're in the same company together, or it can be anyone, anytime, any place. You just never know. So,
how different would you say Tenille is from Emma?
I mean, as a character.
Yeah.
What Emma are you talking about?
Oh, that's true.
That's kind of the first thing we have to touch on.
Okay. Well, how many Emmas would you say there are?
2 mainly.
Okay.
There was the bubbly, ditzy, oblivious, bubble popping Emma. I keep doing this because that's just what comes with it. And that was that's kind of like the funny side of me. Like I'm very kind of, I don't know, blunt and sarcastic person normally. And that was kind of like the me making fun of myself side of things. And so like that's why it worked and was so much fun because I don't mind giving myself crap. So I was able to kind of go out there and know that I look like an idiot, and I didn't care because I knew, and I said I look like an idiot.
What did you create the dance?
Yeah, it was me along with Byron Saxton actually at the time, and it was when Dusty was we were all at FCW, and I picked this new music. And at the time, it was like the music that we used. Was that music, but it was like, this is very strange, almost like a little alien, like weird. So I was like, what do? I have to do something when I come out. I can't just like walk out. So I ended up doing this like weird thing with my hands, and they were like, don't do that, but maybe like a little more like this. And we kind of adjusted it, and I just kind of kept trying it, and that's kind of evolved from that.
And then it caught on fast.
Yeah, which was crazy to me, but like the NXT crowds were like, and still are awesome like that, where they kind of like, you're like their own product basically, and they kind of just caught on and just kind of grew with me, and so then like before long the whole crowd would be doing the dance with me, and it just made it so much more fun because I didn't feel like an idiot anymore. And I was like, people like this, all right.
It's hard to hear that song now and not do some sort of
right.
Yeah,
people still like, I'll go take a picture and they're like,
that's the
they
pose?
Did the pose, yeah.
What pose do you do?
I can't do it with, hang on, wait.
Okay, yeah. And when they do that pose, what do you do?
I'm like, wow. Well, they did the dance, and I'm like, that's a great dance. Where'd you learn that? Yeah, give myself credit.
Yeah, it's the Emma dance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Emma dance. Mm-hmm. It's part of the evolution. So
the other
Emma
is more like
me.
What we see in Impact, right?
Yeah. It was kind of like when
aviator glasses, darker hair.
Yeah, more just like, I just want to wrestle and kick people's ass, which is me. And just showing like in less of the ditzy side and more like get to it. Like I was saying before, I've wrestled since I was like 13 years old, and I love wrestling like my whole life. So I wanted to show like I'm serious about this, and this is like my career and what I love doing, and so show people more like what I could do basically. And be taken more seriously, I guess, because a lot of people are used to like the ha, and I was like, well, no, I can go, and
When you came in, you were more of like the serious wrestler, weren't you?
When I came in to
NXT and WWE?
No, I started as the first thing was the ditzy, the dancing Emma.
A lot of hands. For anyone listening on the podcast, there's lots of hands.
The dancing Emma. This is how I have to explain one to the other. And that's how I came into NXT, and then I guess I did some matches in FCW before that, but it was like, no one remembers that. And then I went to the main roster, did stuff with Santino, and then came back to NXT. Was when kind of nothing was really happening for me on the main roster. I was like, all right, something needs to change. I want to use that, what we're doing, the fact that I'm not being used, and turn that into like a storyline where I'm like, I should be used, like pay me some attention, like, and that's how the whole like, they called me Evil Emma, which I love too. That was the fans. That was the fans. They named me that, and that's kind of how that evolved, because it was like, what about me? Why is no one paying me attention?
But out of that was really kind of the start of the women's revolution.
Oh, thanks.
It's true. Like that match you had with Paige was like, oh yeah, they should let this happen more often.
Yeah, and that was cool because it was like the first well, the championship was brought in then, and then NXT, the live specials, that was like the beginning of that as well. So it was like a big moment for NXT as a whole, and then having a big women's match with a championship and having it mean so much as well. So yeah, it was kind of the first time, I guess we were like put to the test, and it was kind of like we delivered and everyone was really happy with it. And I think what helped with that was like the storyline leading up to it, and the fans were invested and we were invested, and it just meant so much more, especially when you have a good storyline.
Right.
So that I love being part of NXT and building all that, and obviously the Revolution's like going crazy now.
Yeah,
but it's cool to have like a small part in it. Yeah.
I think you have more than a small part in it.
Thanks.
But it's true. It was because of those types of matches that you guys were able to have. I mean, here we are. What would it be 3 or 4 years later now?
Yeah.
That like
more four, at least 4. Yeah.
Yeah. That women's wrestling is just it's a thing now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's wrestling is what it is.
It's an attraction. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if it's men's wrestling or women's wrestling. Just wrestling in general now is.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
pretty great.
It's cool because I know a lot of us, like, the women on WWE that have just been killing it, and now AEW as well. But like, we all talk about how years ago we never thought that like we'd be where we are and this would be happening. So it's just really cool just to look back and just be like, wow, we did it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing where it is now.
Yeah.
And now you have the chance to be the Knockouts champion tonight. Mm-hmm. Although this will air after, so sorry, you guys will already know what will have happened. I don't. We don't. We don't know what's happening.
I mean, in my mind, I'm winning the championship, of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
From my mind.
Let's just celebrate now.
To your mind?
Yes. All right.
When you were working the angle with Santino, were you also traveling with him?
No. I always traveled with Summer Rae or Dana Brooke after that. Paige sometimes at the beginning as well. But no, we never traveled together.
When you were first presented the Santino angle, were you like, this could be fun?
Oh, yeah. It was first presented to me at NXT, and I'd been doing this back to the hands. I'd been doing the Ditzy Emma, and I think Triple H at the time just had this thought, like Santino and Emma, like he just had this idea. And at the time, he put us in a match with Summer Rae and Fandango at NXT.
Yeah.
And I remember that was like, the crowd went nuts. It was one of the funniest moments of my career. Like, Santino just cracks me up. Like, he's honestly one of the funniest people I've ever met. And I just remember we just kind of clicked like straight away. And it was like, he looked at me and was like, oh, you do this? Oh, let's do this. And then I was like, okay. And then so, he was great kind of leading me along, and just hilarious, and we just kind of meshed. So I think from that, Triple H was like, yeah, it worked. And then literally like a few months later, it was a thing on Raw.
And I don't think people understand or appreciate how good of a wrestler Santino is. Like,
yeah,
he fell into the comedy gimmick for so long, but like, he's an incredible wrestler.
Yeah, and an actual fighter too. Like,
that too.
He's
legit.
Yeah,
he's running shows now in Toronto.
Yeah, I did one a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I caught up with him, and he still makes me laugh a lot. I mean, some of the things he used to say, like live on Raw, he'd be standing next to me. I can't even repeat them, but he'd be standing next to me and say something under his breath, and I would like die laughing, but I have to try not laugh. So I would just be like, oh my God.
Like in the ring?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
live
man.
TV, just under his breath, like, yeah.
Oh. When you switched from the blonde hair to the brunette hair, was there a lot of like conversations that had to go on to make this happen?
No. I just left WWE, so I was like, I'm going to do my hair. I can do what I want now.
And
so
then
that was it. I just colored it.
And then when you came back, they were like, yeah,
that was
work.
like when I left.
Oh.
The last time. I didn't go back after that.
Well, but when you had like the...
Oh, you like the in-between?
Yeah.
Oh, that was when I did like the Evil Emma. So that was...
So Evil Emma had to have different colored hair.
Yeah, because I kind of did like more of the ombre. So it was like instead of like the...
I love that word.
The ombre?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's just a funny hair word.
Okay.
Ombre.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
It was more. I don't know. That was for the people, not for you.
I see. Yeah, I saw that too.
It was more like, yeah, it was like a change, like a darker feel to the character, and I wanted to change my look a little bit. So I got, obviously new gear, added the gloves, the glasses, and that's when I did a bit darker and kind of left just the ends or whatever, like the streak down the front. So yeah, it was like, when you turn bad, you got to be bad.
And was it you that asked for your release? Like, how did that all happen?
No, actually, it wasn't me. It was actually a really really big shock for me. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah. So at the time, I had just I was in a feud with Asuka, and we'd just done the pay-per-view, and that was her debut, I believe, or pay-per-view debut. I think it was her actual debut as well. And we had like an awesome match, and I remember like everyone loved it. And then we had a match on Raw the night after, and then basically by the end of the week, I had a call saying that I was released.
Did they tell you why?
From what I heard, it was just that I don't even know what, because I feel like there's more to it than what I was told, and it was kind of a very brief conversation, and not necessarily everyone agreed or whatever it was, but basically I think the boss wasn't happy with something, and that was kind of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
so
sorry.
I was like very shocked, because I literally was packed to go on the European tour, so like a 2-week tour overseas, had my bags packed. I was going to the airport, it was on a Sunday. I was on the way to the airport basically, and got a call, and I was like, what?
And this all happened over the phone?
But it was a little bit more aggressive.
What?
Yeah, over the phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I've heard other stories where it's like, hey, we need you to come into the office.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
That was it. Didn't see them again.
That doesn't, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And your contract doesn't protect you against something like this?
No, I guess not.
We're not lawyers.
I mean, the
We don't
contracts
know.
are like, what do you call it? Like you're an independent contractor, basically.
I would imagine it favors
They're not in your favor at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like everyone always says, what happened? I'm like, honestly, I don't really know, because, like it seems a bit silly for like one little, whatever it was. But I'm like, obviously the boss wasn't happy with me or whatever at the time, and that was it. So I'm like, shit happens,
Right. But, you've landed on your feet.
Yeah.
And things are...
And it's because of my career there that I'm like where I am today. So I'm like, oh, well, I kind of try to turn everything into a positive. I'm like, because of that, I'm here, and because I'm of like where I am, I can do all these other amazing things, and like I know I have so much more to offer. So I'm like, turn it into a positive, and just kind of I use that to kind of continue on like the independent scene, and like launch that part of my career, and travel more, and do all these things that people can't do at WWE.
We've also launched like, you're able to do influencer stuff.
Yeah.
Which you probably wouldn't be able to do with WWE.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, because there are some kind of, I guess, logistics with contracts, this and that. So.
Yeah, and if you've built a following that big, you might as well capitalize on it.
Yeah. I kind of like let my fans know other things I'm interested in, and try to make it, my social media not all about wrestling. I think everyone knows I love wrestling already. So, I try to introduce like, my love for food or fitness, and my love for travel. And, I sometimes, or because I can do my own schedule now, I can make it where I'm like, okay, this month I'm going to be in, for instance, recently I did like shows in Germany and Switzerland, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in Switzerland for an extra week and go see the beautiful mountains. And so I did. And those are things that you can't do when you're contracted and have to be somewhere every single week.
Yeah, if you don't want to take indie bookings for 2 weeks and you want to go travel somewhere, you now can.
Exactly. I just have to plan ahead, because my schedule is packed.
I'm sure
but
it is.
I do have to, like, I can, if I want to, a few months ahead, I can plan.
Is the rest of your year completely booked up?
Yeah.
Must be nice.
I kept time for Christmas so I can go home and see my family, which is things like I couldn't do before. So, there was years where I barely saw them at all. So like sacrifices you have to make, which is like were in the long run worth it. And now I have that time where I can do these things that are more enjoyable.
Yeah. I know that, with making a YouTube channel, it's time consuming, and it takes a lot to make these videos and edit them and everything like that. Is that why Taste of Tenille stopped?
Yeah, basically. I was like, no, it was like, I had, at that time, I think I'd just gone back to NXT, so I was kind of at home more, because a lot of the shows are in Florida where I lived. And I was like, okay, I want to do something more with my time and still connect with my fans. So I started the show, I was cooking at home, I was filming myself and editing the shows myself, which I had no idea how to do.
It's so time consuming too.
Yeah, well, exactly. But like, I have no idea when it comes to like computers and editing and stuff. So I was like literally watching like YouTube things, and I'm like, how do I do like this tiny clip? And you can tell when you watch it, it's still not very good. But I managed to like, sometimes I'd upload and then mess that up, and then it would take me hours and hours to get an episode up, and then I'd be like, oh. done, So it got to a point where I was like, I can't enjoy it anymore. And I started to get busier again because they were like, oh, Evil Emma went great. You're going back to the main roster. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I'm like, oh, I have no time now. So it's kind of just like, when I had time, I did it. And then I ran out of time and I couldn't do it on my own anymore. So I needed someone to like do it all for me, basically.
You've got time now.
No, not really. Like,
No?
I'm hardly ever home. Like, I haven't been home for like a few weeks or so right now. And I still go to Australia on Monday. Like, I'm not even going home after this.
What?
Yeah.
So you're just living out of a suitcase?
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Wow.
A few suitcases.
Well,
there.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff with me.
How long are you in Australia for?
Not that long now because I ended up doing these Impact shows. So originally I went to Singapore for a signing, and then from there to Bali, and then was going to go straight to Australia, but then this opportunity came up.
Yeah,
so
to win the Knockouts Championship.
which I thought, well, hell yeah.
That was a big wink there. Yeah.
Don't give anything away. I already said I was going to win anyway.
That's right.
So this opportunity came up, and I was like, no, it's like something I want to do. So instead of going 6 hours to Australia, I went over 24 hours to Chicago. And that's why I'm a little bit of a lunatic this weekend.
No, you're great.
I seem fine right now.
Yeah,
right?
you seem... Yeah.
Good. And then, so I can't even think what I was saying. So I did the show and then like a signing yesterday, and now today is the show, and then I fly
Tomorrow is Monday.
To Australia. And that's
then-
like over 24 hours
And
again.
you'll get to Australia 2 days later.
And to answer the question you actually asked me, 2 days later I get there on the Wednesday, and then on Friday I have a show. So I have like 2 days basically. Then Friday's the show, and then Saturday I fly to Perth for another show. And then I come back again.
For Impact?
No, back home finally. But I stay in Perth for an extra day because Summer Rae is going to be with me. So we're going to like see...
We can call her Danielle. Whatever
Danielle.
we want. Yeah.
We're going to see Perth a little bit because I haven't really seen it, even though I'm from Australia. And then do another, 24 hours. This is way too many 24-hour trips.
Yeah, it's a long flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like just adjusting to the time. Like, I was awake very early this morning, like in bed, just wide awake. I'm like,
Oh,
great.
yeah, your body probably has no idea what time zone it is.
Yeah. And I got a little sick at the end of my Bali trip, so I've been a little bit of a mess. But here I am.
Yeah. Well, I've been following you on Instagram, and you did all of the stereotypical things you need to do in Bali.
Mm-hmm. Got bit by a monkey.
I did not see that.
That's not stereotypical. Yeah, so yeah, that was interesting.
Hold on. How did that happen?
That was a weird laugh. Anyway, see, I can make fun of myself. Okay, so there's in Uber. Stop laughing. In Uber, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Probably Uber, something like that. There's a monkey sanctuary, something like that, and we went to it. And it's wild monkeys, basically, but you're in like kind of like a forest kind of area, and you can walk through. There's footpaths and everything. A lot of people there, and you basically go to see the monkeys, and they're just kind of roaming around freely. And the people that work there like put some corn and veggies out to feed them, and they kind of like run around. People like take videos. And anyway, so when you go in, there's like this big ass sign at the front, like don't do this, don't do that, like don't feed the monkeys. Don't touch the monkeys. If they touch you, just act calm and don't look them in the eyes. It was like this. I was like, okay. Oh. So we saw this sign and went to walk. I'm like, let's go read this properly. So I'm like, okay, walk on in. And then kind of like looking around. This is like really within the first few minutes as well. I sit down. I'm like, what if I sit down? Maybe like we'll see what happens. Maybe one will come near me. Yeah, smart, right? So I sit down and like this, right? I'm on this little, I don't know, bench, right? And I sit there, and Danielle's like starting to film, but I was like, just get the camera ready in case like something happens, of course. And then so she's filming, and she's filming something over there, and then this monkey literally comes and sits next to me, and I go, oh, Danielle, like get this kind of thing. And meanwhile, so the monkey, and I'm like looking over here, you know, don't look at it. So it grabs me by the hand. It grabs me by the hand like this. Like
the
put your hand. I'm sitting there like this. It goes like this, like a little baby. It felt like a little baby's hands, and I was like, oh my god! Like instantly, I was like, it's so cute. So it grabbed me by the hand, like we were like friends or something. And so I looked down at it, like, oh my gosh, it's so cute.
You looked it in the eye.
So there's a moment where it kind of lets go, and then it kind of goes like this with my hand, and then I look at it, and you see it looks back at me and goes,
No.
So literally, I guess like the looking in the eyes is like a threat or like a sign of like an enemy. So it saw that, went from holding my hand and me being like, oh my God, look at it, to like a full on attack. And it started like gnawing at my thumb. And then I was trying to act calm still, because I'm like, don't freak out. So I was like, pulling my hand away. And then when I did that, it went in for like a big bite and like kind of got this finger. And that's when I was like, oh, like shit. And I like got out of there. And then it's on video. I put it on my Instagram. So people have all been messaging me and watching it and like dying. Some people think it's hilarious. But I was lucky it didn't puncture the skin, because you can get like rabies and stuff from wild animals. So I was lucky it didn't puncture the skin, and I still like put, like what do you call it? Like a bacterial wipe on it to clean it off anyway after. But it was like Danielle literally, I was like, you could have stopped the video to like help me. She's in shock, just like filming the entire thing, which in the end I was like, wow, it's kind of cool. We have this ridiculous video. And the amount of times she watched it after that, not even kidding, maybe 100 times, literally in tears, because she's slow-moed it. And the bit where it goes to bite, you see it has like these fangs, I didn't even know, like these two long ass teeth like on the sides, and you see it like at me, and she slow-moed and like zoomed on the monkey's face, and she's like in tears, dying, laughing. Like,
I imagine you guys left shortly thereafter.
Well, no, actually.
Oh no.
I don't know, I wanted like a nice picture with the monkey, so we stayed around a little bit, but I was very like, I was like, that kind of like, it was like a traumatic experience for me.
Yeah.
So after that we stayed a little bit, and then we saw like these monkeys were kind of like climbing on this guy, and I was like, I kind of want that, but I'm scared. So I kind of went near the wall, and one climbed on my back, and I just like did not move or look at it. And she took a couple of pictures, and then it and I was like, now how do I get it off? And then it kind of like just jumped off in the end. And then I was like, whew, okay, let's go.
You got to do it for the gram.
I got my picture, and then I was like, out of there.
You got to do it for the gram.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's like, if that was me that got bit by monkey, she's like, it would be like a whole other thing, because she's like, I would have flipped. And she's like, you stayed so calm. I was trying not to like make it worse, but
it could have been a lot worse.
You gotta watch the video if you haven't seen it.
I haven't. I can't believe
I'll show you the slow.
The slow-mo's the best. Here. I'm sorry.
And meanwhile, she's laughing at the monkey, but my face is like pure fear. I'm like, no. The slow-mo of me, no. My face just drops. Like, it's hilarious.
So since you're going home this week, when you go home, do your friends think you have an American accent now?
Oh yeah,
which is so funny.
That probably sounded American then, right?
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, mate.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, mate. No.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh.
So
I got a 10.
Yeah.
I got a 10.
Moving on now. They do. They think I have an American accent. Like, I guess certain things, maybe certain words, more particular than others, but. And compared to them, because some of them are full like, g'day, mate. Like, how you going? Like,
that's not a knife.
No, well, no one says that.
Yeah, they do.
Or like shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah, it's totally something you guys say, right?
Yeah, all the time. But I guess, yes, compared to them or what they're used to, I sound like I have an American accent.
Do you think that you do? Like, do you catch yourself going, I now say that word like my American friends do?
Not really. Maybe like a little bit of like a twang sometimes. Like I can hear like a little bit where I'm like, that's not as Australian as I used to be. But, put me next to one of my friends for like a couple minutes and I'm like, yeah, nah. Like it's just really bad. Like
almost got the hand thing back there too.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Yeah. No, we don't do that. This is not an Australian thing. It's just a weird Emma thing.
It'll be with you forever though.
It'll be with me forever.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing.
No. I'm like the first person ever that had like a bubble machine on my entrance. So I'm proud of that.
You should be
proud of my accomplishments. I had no titles, but I had a bubble machine. So I'm still doing lots of these things.
Well, but seriously, what are you most proud of with your WWE run?
I loved my time at NXT. I actually was like one of the fastest people kind of to come through the system and go onto the main roster. Like after me, the people were there for years before they came up, you know. So I was there for about a year and a half, and obviously I'd wrestled before then. But you know, when I first got my contract initially, it was at like an open tryout back at FCW, and they had one contract and I won that. So
Wow.
that was like my first like huge thing. Is, you know, I wanted that my whole life. It was my lifelong dream to be a wrestler with the WWE, and I got that contract. So that was like, I'll never forget that moment. And then from there, you know, kind of killing it with the NXT stuff, and all of us kind of just making a name for ourselves, and NXT becoming such a big brand like it is now. I loved all of that. And my matches with Paige that we kind of briefly discussed. And I really enjoyed like I did WrestleManias. I really enjoyed my matches with Asuka. Like NXT TakeOver London was one of my favorite matches. And it was really, the high points for me were more when there was a storyline involved and where I was like wrestling, you know, like I had time and a competitive match, and the crowd was invested because we had told a story leading up to the pay-per-view and people cared. So those were like the biggest moments for me.
You've got all that now with your time in Ring of Honor, your time in Impact. You've got time in the ring to like really show off what you can do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to have a stretch though.
I'll do one too. Why not?
I feel like I'm sitting really hunched for some reason.
There we go.
Hunched.
Is the plan with getting all of this in-ring exposure to eventually go back to WWE?
It's not, I don't have a plan really per se. I mean, my plan, I guess, right now is to enjoy what I'm doing. And it's very important for me to be healthy and happy. It's the most important thing, and doing that can be, you know, more of my travels, more wrestling, and kind of balancing the two, and not being so consumed in something where you kind of get stuck in that bubble and it feels like you have no life outside of it, which can and does happen a lot. And then you know, balancing that with my life outside of wrestling and enjoying things that people talk about all the time and don't actually do. So I'm like, I don't want to be that person that says I want to do this, this, and this, and doesn't. Like, I'm just going to go do them. So that's the type of person I am. I'm like, I want to go to Bali. I'm going to go to Bali. You know, I'm going to get bit by a monkey if I want to. That wasn't the plan, though. But
and you love to cook, so maybe you know, maybe some more of that. If you're ever home.
Yeah, no, I'm never home.
What do you love to cook?
I mean, I love making breakfast. That's not hard to cook, obviously, but I love making breakfast. I love baking, and then like other meals, like I mean, it can be anything really, like pastas or just certain dishes. But the thing is, I live by myself, so I don't really cook because like I'll make all this food I want to eat, and then I'm like, I shouldn't be eating that. You know, it's going to be yummy food. I mean, I cook healthy food all the time, like chicken breasts and rice and veggies, and but it's boring, you know. Yeah. So it's better when like it's a group's function or something, or like a family thing, and we can all get together and cook together. I love doing that. So
the post you recently made was basically saying, "Hey, I'm going to."
I'm actually really hungry right now.
Because we just talked about food.
Yeah, I might actually.
Okay, well,
take off. See you later.
The post you recently made was basically saying something like Taste of Tenille could maybe be coming back.
Yeah. So it was basically like an evolved version of Taste of Tenille because I'm not home ever.
Like a vlog.
Yeah. So it was like my life on the road. So, you know, like we're in Chicago today, for instance, I've been here for a couple of days. So say yesterday, like a life in the day. I don't know why I'm dyslexic lately.
I think it's
I say things backwards all the time now. It's too much wrestling. A day in the life of Tenille. That's what you get. So, yeah, because, you know, I might get up and go for breakfast. I might go for a workout. And it's like, you know, whatever it is. Like, if I was in Bali, like, I went for a surfing lesson. So maybe, like, you'd get to see me surf for the first time, which is pretty hilarious. I have literally, like, a rash all down my leg from, like, the rubbing on the board. And, yeah.
You're supposed to wear the...
like a bodysuit? Yeah. I didn't do that. I wore, like, a long-sleeve top they gave us.
That's good.
Yeah. So my top half is fine. My legs are, like, torn up. It's great.
Is this going to be on your YouTube channel?
No, that I just put on Instagram. But like the actual show, yes. I was just giving you an example. But yeah. So we're basically looking for a platform to launch it on. So if you're interested, shoot me an email.
I think it's
sponsors, platforms, whatever.
tasteoftenille@gmail.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I can't believe I remembered that.
And it can be anything though, because like you said, I love to cook, so I don't mind like going to a restaurant and cooking with a chef, or like if someone wants to cook and invite me to their restaurant, then like I'll go and eat and like promote their restaurant and like the experience we had there, and the places I go travel, like the hotels I've stayed in, some amazing places, and like people don't understand or see all of what I get to do.
Yeah.
And it's some pretty amazing stuff. So I was like, oh, I just wish I could show all of it, you know? And like when I saw the girls the other day, they're all like, oh, I've just been like living through your Instagram or your videos, whatever. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm doing this show for, because people say they like live vicariously through me. And that's basically the plot of the show.
So basically you're
live
saying
through me.
You want to do all this, but not edit it. That's
Oh
basically
yeah, I don't want to do any of the hard work. Yeah, no, I'm working with a production company right now.
Oh, awesome.
So basically, they would, in theory, come to wherever I am, and we would travel around and film, and I would meet up with, people at a restaurant, professional athletes, a surfing coach, whatever it is, and, try different sports, try different places to eat, maybe some rehab stuff, some PT stuff, for the wrestling and recovery, and like that's kind of the plot of it, and to get a more of an insight into like my real life.
If you've already got
the real Tenille. You like it?
That's it. Is that what it's called?
Are you going to sponsor it?
I mean,
pay up.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, we'll discuss after.
I gotta go now.
That's a yes.
Wow. Well, if you already
it's
have
your interview, you can't leave me.
I can't leave my. I could.
We'll see what happens.
Look.
All right.
See ya.
All right. So anyway, before you're lucky.
If you already have all the subscribers you have with Taste of Tenille, why don't you just rebrand Taste of Tenille?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then we can tell people right now to subscribe.
Subscribe.
There you go. I'll put the link down below.
Taste of Tenille.
There you go.
Hey.
Huh?
Yeah.
So you subscribe. It's down below.
Subscribe.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you said it, not me.
But so if you already have the platform and you already,
Yeah, so basically we're just looking for kind of more like, I know places I want to go visit and things I want to do, but people that are interested in being a part of it, because, when you have people like that, it just all comes together better and it's more exciting. So looking for people to reach out and kind of just pull everything together.
And would wrestling have any part of this as well?
I mean, wrestling is like a big part of my life, so I'm always going to like talk about it or refer to it, or it's probably a lot of my trips will be associated with a wrestling trip probably. So in that degree, yeah.
Who is your favorite all-time wrestler?
Stone Cold. Stone Cold.
Do you have a favorite Stone Cold match?
For me, like, what drew me in as a little girl was more like the entertainment side of it. Like, I loved, I remember literally sitting like this close to my TV, and like his music would hit and I'd be like, yeah, like the glass would shatter and I'd be like, Jake, as my brother, Jake, Stone Cold's coming out. Like, I was just nuts for the whole theatrical side of things, and just like whatever it was, like the crazy fights they got into, but not even in the ring, and then I guess when I understood it more and I grew up a little bit more, then I became more invested in like the wrestling side of it, but that's kind of what that spark was for me. It's just the music, the real like fighting, the badass side of Stone Cold.
Yeah. Is there an all-time favorite match? Doesn't have to involve Stone Cold, but just in general.
You know what? It's weird, but I don't really have like a all-time favorite match. Yeah.
I'm sure you have lots of stuff you just
there's
appreciate.
There's like a million, but I just it's not like I'm like that's the match. Like, there's more like moments for me, and like I said, a lot of them, it's more the storylines or the feeling in the moment when it happens, rather than like the match itself. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you making
What's
the
yours?
time. Oh, my favorite match of all time?
Yeah.
Talked about it many times, but
okay, boring.
No, it's okay. Everyone, it's Rock Hogan WrestleMania 18.
Okay.
I was there.
But again, so that's like very theatrical characters.
Was.
It was all like the moment and the feelings they gave. Yeah.
So it was, I was there. I was sitting in like the 26th row on the floor, and that moment where Rock and Hogan have that stare down at the start of the match. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was such a special moment.
Yeah.
And I interviewed The Rock. I've interviewed him a bunch of times now, but I interviewed him the first time, and I said, I got to tell you, Rock, my favorite match was you and Hogan, WrestleMania 18. And he goes, "Who were you cheering for?" And I'm like, "I was cheering for Hogan." He's like, "Yeah, me too."
Oh, I was like, oh, you're in shit. Oh, that's cool.
Have you seen that match?
Yeah, but you just reminded me though, because when WWE first came back to Australia in, I think it was 2002, it was a global warming tour, and there was like literally, I think it was 67,000 people in the arena. It was like the biggest show,
Wow.
like I guess before last year or whatever it was. And I was, I don't know, how old was I then? 14. I don't know how to add up this quickly. Anyway, but I was very young. No, younger than that. I was younger than that. So
Well, it would be, if it was 2002, it's 17 years ago. So your age minus 17.
yeah, so I'm 30, so it's 13, around that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
okay. So,
Math.
so I know. I'm good at math. I just kind of put myself on the spot. And then, so I remember I was in high school, and I remember I think I was late that day, and I ran to the place to line up to get tickets. There's like no online stuff back then. Or maybe there was, I just didn't know. And then, so I remember I spent like all my savings on getting this ticket. But at the time, my mum was like, "You're not going by yourself." And I was like, "Oh, what do I do?" So I bought her a ticket like way up in like the nosebleeds. Like, it was like $60. It was still like, oh, it's a lot of money, Mum. But so I bought that for her, and I paid, I think it was like $350 for my ticket. And I sat kind of like in the second section on the ground. And I remember the match was Rock, Brock, and Triple H. And I remember like, it was like my first moment at a WWE show ever. And I remember just like sitting by myself in this row full of people, but they were chanting for, I think it was I can't remember who it was exactly, but like someone was chanting for The Rock and someone was chanting for Triple H, but we were like dual chanting. And I remember thinking like, this is the coolest moment ever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like no one I knew and no friends or anything, but I was like, yes.
I had a very similar moment during the Rock and Hogan match.
Yeah.
Because Rock was supposed to be the good guy, and everyone's cheering for Hogan.
Yeah.
And here I was cheering as loud as I could for Hogan, and this little kid beside me is cheering for The Rock. And then when Rock wins the match, he's like, "See, I told you." I'm like, well, I don't think anyone expected Hogan to win.
Yeah.
But-
Well, that's the reason why like I'll always be a fan too, because it's like those moments that like made me love wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how excited we got talking about these matches.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Have you had a favorite match? I guess your favorite match that you were in, you were talking about, was with Asuka, probably?
Yeah, Takeover London. I loved that match, and NXT Arrival. I guess, yeah, were probably like two of my biggest matches. And it's funny because they're actually both NXT matches. I feel like I had a lot more to offer on like the main roster. I didn't really kind of get to where I wanted to be, and I was kind of getting there, and then that happened. So
I think you'll be back.
Oh, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the way the wrestling world works.
I don't think I left on bad terms, and you know, it was obviously a decision at the time, and it wasn't like a big long like leading up to thing or anything like that. So, yeah, you just never know.
When you got let go, were you not able to work indie shows right away?
There's like a 90-day clause.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
I remembered you worked the AEW show in Cleveland.
Yeah.
My buddy John Thorne runs that.
Oh yeah.
And he called the show "We Have a Dill Emma," because they weren't allowed to use the name Emma.
Which I think you can actually. I found out later. Maybe it was like for a certain amount of time you couldn't. I'm not sure, but someone said they looked it up to see if they could advertise me, and they said, "Oh, it's not copyright."
I don't know how you could trademark Emma
anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess like they're like, we can use it, and I was like, oh, well, there you go.
Did they come up with Emma, or did you?
It was me, but at that time you kind of just submit like a list of names,
Right.
and then they would review it. But like I didn't just put Emma. It was like Emma so and so, Emma
Yes.
so and so, and like there was a list of, and there was other names I can't remember, but there was like not just one name. And then they came back and they were like Emma, and I was like, Emma what? Just Emma? I remember thinking like, that's it. And then I was like, okay. And I just like made it work.
Yeah, they really like the one name names now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I came up with all the, like the dilemma, the evolution, all the Emma phrases and puns and whatever. So I kind of just had fun with it and made it work.
That's very punny of you.
Yeah, it's a good one.
We're going to end it with that.
Oh, yeah,
Pun.
on a high note.
Yeah, real high note. I'm excited to see you in an Impact ring.
Thank you.
It's congratulations on everything. Congratulations on having the best deal in pro wrestling, apparently.
Yeah. It makes it exciting because, like, you know, the Impact division's awesome. So, you know, I'm loving what I'm doing here. And then it's like I'm not necessarily, like, restricted where, you know, I want to kind of continue living my life and enjoying it and having that balance and traveling more. So I don't want to be anywhere where I can't really do what I want. But, you know, I'm open to opportunities. So I'd be silly not to be. So, and like I said, there's a lot more I feel like I had to achieve at WWE, and I know AEW is killing it. So, and I, you know, and I'm friends with people everywhere. So that makes it exciting for me that you just, anything can happen in the future.
Who knows where you might end up?
Yeah.
This is very exciting, everyone. All right, thank you.
You could be a little more excited than that.
Okay, one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
This is very exciting!
Okay. Oh, alrighty. Okay, and we're done.
She's fun, isn't she? Thank you for checking out this chat with Tenille Dashwood. Big thank you to Tenille for finding the time to do this. We were both in the same place at the same time and made this thing happen. And how exciting is it that apparently she has the best contract in all of pro wrestling, something that allows her to be on Impact Wrestling, but also at the same time appear on an AEW pay-per-view. That might be the best contract in pro wrestling because I don't know if that's the contract at all, which then in fact would be the best deal in pro wrestling. Also, if you're watching this in Australia, I just want to say I'm sorry for that really bad attempt at an Australian accent. Hopefully you don't hold it against me, mate. Also, you saw this at the start of the video. Perhaps you even fast forwarded through the interview just to find out how you could win this beautiful big gold World Heavyweight Championship belt from Fandu Belts. I'm going to be giving this away to one of my lucky subscribers, one of my lucky Instagram followers. To enter, all you have to do is head to my Instagram account at Chris Van Vliet. Look for the photo of me posing with the big, beautiful, big gold. And the instructions on how to enter are there. It's pretty simple. Follow me, follow Fandu Belts, like the photo, and then tag one of your friends in the comments. For every friend that you tag, you will get another entry into the contest. So tag 10 friends, get 10 entries. Tag 27 friends, get 27 entries. I think you understand how this works here. The giveaway runs until November 11th, so best of luck to you, and you too could be saying the champ is here.